Good morning, everybody. Well, we're back. We're live. We're in the studio. We're in North Palm Beach, Florida, for you new listeners. And we've been doing this thing for 20 plus years. In the studio with me right now is Nancy Stewart, my co-host and co-founder of this show 20 years ago, and Rick Kearney, our certified diagnostic master technician, who just knows about everything there is to know about the mechanics, the robotics, the electronics, the software. Cars are not what they used to be, but Rick Kearney knows what they were like, and he knows what they are like. And there are not too many guys like him or gals like him floating around. So stay tuned and direct your questions to Rick when you call in. And of course, you are... I know you think, some of you regular listeners, you're tired of hearing this, and you think I'm trying to flatter you, but I'm not. I'm just being honest. You make the show. I mean, we've got some callers out there. We have one caller, we call him John from Palm City, who we're presenting with a plaque for listening and participating and contributing to the show for nearly 20 years. I mean, the guy's amazing. So we value you. And we have a lot of listeners like John out there. And we have a lot of people that monitor us on Facebook and YouTube and stream us directly. We love the calls. Please, if you can, if you have the courage to call the dealership. There I go. I have a dealership, so I slipped. Call the radio show. And you can call us at 877-960-9960. I know that sounds old-fashioned to you young folk out there who don't use telephones much anymore. It's all texting and, electronic kind of stuff. But we have a lot of people out there that listen on to the radio, and they call in. And you have to admit, if you want to wish your mother happy birthday, which is better, an email or a phone call? It's the personal touch, the personal touch. So 877-960-9960. And that is a number that will go directly to Nancy Stewart in the studio. Well, not really directly, but it goes on her laptop. And the control room will put that up on her laptop screen. She'll know your name. She'll know that you're on the phone holding, and she will stop the show. Literally, wave her arms, yell, stop the show, and take your call. We do that because that's how important we look at phone calls. The personality, the emotion comes through. You can't put your emotion in a text. Well, you can try, I guess, but it's just not the same. So write this down if you haven't memorized it. Our regular callers have memorized it. So if you're a new caller, write this down, please. 877-960-9960. Okay? 877-960-9960. And we will drop what we're doing, take your call, and thank you very much for doing that. Most of you won't call, but we still get a lot of calls. Most of you prefer texting, and so we have a way for you to talk to us too, and that's 772-497-6530. That's 772-497-6530. And we will get to those texts, not immediately. So let's say you're going to Publix or you're going to Walgreens and you're listening to us and you get the text number down. You can text us. You can go into Walgreens and get whatever you're going to get and come back out and you can listen to the show because we get to the text sooner or later during the show. And we're on the air from 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to 10 a.m., 2 hours. So we got plenty of time, and by the end of that show, we will get to your text. For you privacy nuts out there, I shouldn't call you nuts. Privacy is an important thing, and a lot of people value it highly. I don't, because I'm almost like a public figure. I mean, I've been doing this. I've been putting my personal cell phone number out on the air for God knows how long. I even put it in the Washington Post when I wrote an open letter to Jeff Bezos. I put my personal cell phone number out there, and if you want to threaten me or bug me personally, just call 561-358-1474. So that shows you how crazy I am. But I know I'm an oddball, and Nancy reminds me of that, by the way, every now and then. But I am an oddball. I know you folks that value your privacy. I respect that. So here's a number that nobody can know who you are. Totally private. And that number is youranonymousfeedback.com. Your, Y-O-U-R, A-N-O-N-Y-M-O-U-S, feedback, just like it sounds, FEEDBACK.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. And I haven't even mentioned this to the folks in the studio here, but I have my lawyers working on a guarantee that if you can show that our anonymous feedback is not anonymous, I'll pay you $100,000. I'll put my money where my mouth is. And I'm putting $100,000 into escrow with an attorney that won't be my attorney. It'll be another attorney, because if you say, well, yeah, he put it in an escrow with his own attorney. But I'm going to pick the most prestigious attorney I can find, and I'm going to put the $100,000 in escrow with him. And the only provision as to who we can pay it out to is if they can show that I was not true about my anonymous feedback line, that I, in fact, know who called or told somebody who called. So that's how anonymous it is. And I'll have that done in the next week or two. But if you want to insult me, threaten me, or just prefer to be private about what you say to me, youranonymousfeedback.com. It really is anonymous. YOURANONYMOUS feedback, FEEDBACK.com. Tell me what you think. I'm really directing that at car dealers because I know you hate me. I'm calling you names. I'm saying you're dishonest. I'm saying you're cheating your customers. So I know you hate me. And I know you'd like to say some stuff to me, and maybe even, maybe you truly disagree with me. Now I won't know who you are, because if I'm not being truthful to you, when I get this set up legally, I'll have a contract where you can say, Earl, you owe me $100,000. And so that should motivate you folks out there who would like to say some things that are afraid of me. And don't be afraid of me. Even if I knew who you were, I'm not going to do anything. But I can't do anything if you use youranonymousfeedback.com. Okay, I went on way too long. I'm surprised that Nancy isn't throwing something at me. But I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy Stewart. As I said earlier, she's my co-host, my wife, the love of my life. And she is the female advocate. Oh. Built the audience up here from almost zero female listeners 20 years ago to about 50-50. And she has a super cool, unbelievable, too good to be true, but true offer to first-time lady callers, and she'll tell you about that too. Nancy, the mic is all yours.
Aw, you're so sweet.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. That phone number, if you didn't jot it down, 877-960-9960. You can also reach us by text at 772-497-6530. And as Earl said, which has gotten pretty interesting, youranonymousfeedback.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. $50 for the first two new lady callers. Give us a call, share your story, or just give us a call and say hello. We have a whole lot to get to this morning, and we love reporting on the good, the bad, and the ugly, as I used to say back in the old days. And I'll tell you, we love sharing the positive with you and the negative. Bringing out the negative helps you in your transition into a new car, a used car, rental car, anything at all, you can learn a whole lot here this morning. And I want to thank each and every one of you for being part of the show. You do make the show, as I always say. You know, back to the $50 for the first two new female callers, I have to let you know that women are making a significant impact on the auto industry. Rising numbers in sales. I love reporting this. More women are taking on roles in the automotive sales. According to the industry reports, women's participation in the auto sales sector has been steadily increasing. Yes, steadily increasing. And it helps to bridge the gender gap in a traditionally male-dominated field. And if you didn't know, women influence about 60 to 70% of all vehicle purchases. So keep all of that in mind. We are reshaping everything in the automotive industry. And we have a very interesting caller this morning that I'm so proud to say that I know. And her uncle listens to the show, and that's how Nikki became, yes, her name is Nikki, and she definitely has a very interesting story to share with us. Nikki started listening to the show also, and we've definitely been a help to each other, that's for sure. I've learned a whole lot from her, and I learned how knowledgeable she is, how strong she is, and how she stayed by her values, and she is in a very good place right now, and she'll share her story with you. You know, another interesting story, that's an understatement. I'm not sure whether you heard about this dealership in Lima, Ohio, but the headline is "One Person's Revenge on a Dealership." After an Ohio dealership repossessed her car, that's Tia McCreary, she discovered a way to get back at this dealership, and she took their name. Yeah, she took their name. While evaluating her legal options, McCreary discovered the Ohio Secretary of State canceled the registration for the name Taylor Kia of Lima after Taylor Automotive Group failed to submit a renewal application. What an interesting story that we're going to share with you later on. Also, there's so much more. We have the Mystery Shopping Report. They're going to love that, and so much more. Right now, we're going to go right to the phones. I'll remind everyone again that number is 877-960-9960, and we are going to take Nikki's call first. Good morning, Nikki, and welcome to Earl on Cars.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
We're well, thank you. It's nice to hear from you.
Yes. So I know you kind of know some of my situation. I had bought a vehicle from Mike Maroney in West Palm Beach, and I bought a Chevy Traverse. And after about a year and a half, the car stopped driving and accelerating. And I took it to Mike Maroney. They had my car for 85 days. They couldn't really fix the vehicle. They don't communicate. They wouldn't call me back. But when they sold me the car, they were super, super nice. And so my car was there for 85 days for a wire harness issue. And so as it was there, they gave me rentals. Well, I had to pay for the deposit for the rentals, and I got the rentals. And my first rental, no oil. I had to bring it back. The second one had no oil expired tag. The third one overheated. And I was stuck on the side of the road with 4 children. And then the fifth one that they towed in, when they towed away the other car, came off the tow truck with the expired tag. And every time I called Mike Maroney, they wouldn't respond to my call. They won't email you back. They literally did not care that I was a single mother stuck without a vehicle constantly because of, them giving me vehicles that don't work, nor could they fix my vehicle. So now I did the buyback through General Motors without a lawyer. I figured out how to do it myself since they didn't want to help me.
Good for you.
And so I know there's loopholes and like time periods because, like I said, I'm a single mom. I bought myself a big vehicle. I expected to drive a 3-row vehicle, and they kept giving me Chevy Malibus and Chevy Trax, and they're teeny tiny cars, and my family couldn't fit in them. So I was making multiple trips every day to get all my kids to their 4 different schools. And Mike Maroney's just like, oh, well, suck it up. And this whole time I'm paying my car note, everything. So I go to the general manager at Mike Maroney. His name is Alex. And Alex just tells me to my face, get a lawyer, sue GM. We can't help you. I was like, that wasn't the response I was looking for. So then I go to the service manager, Adam. Adam tells me, oh, they're working on it. He's going to call the rental place because they have the rental enterprise people in the office. And they said that they would give me a vehicle the size I need. They never did. He never called back, nothing. Then I had to go back again when my tag was expired on my rental. And the other service manager there, his name is John. And John told me it's okay. You could ride around in an expired tag. People do it all the time. It's all right. You could just drive around on an expired tag. So I was like, that's not acceptable. So I ended up forcing them to give me a vehicle that didn't have an expired tag, but they were reluctant because they told me it's, acceptable to ride around like that. And it's not with 4 children. So after 85 days, in the midst of it all, I started learning about the buyback program from General Motors. And so I did all my work. So I made a comment on the Better Business Bureau line, and that's when he responded back to the Better Business Bureau line. I already spoke with a customer. I told her she needs to get a lawyer to go after GM. So again, he reiterated saying all they could tell me is to sue GM. So, okay, so then I learned there's a Better Business Bureau auto line. I didn't know there was a difference. And the auto line is when the ball really got to rolling because they then contacted General Motors and someone higher up finally called me about my situation.
Great.
And at that time, I was already like 50 days in with no car and these teeny tiny rentals that keep breaking down. Like I spent hours and days at the dealership for these rentals. I was broken down the road. So it was just a nightmare. And Mike Maroney does not care. They do not care once you get the vehicle from them. And they saw my car was brand new. It wasn't used. It had 5 miles on it when I bought it. It broke down at 30,000 miles. And the week prior, they did the maintenance to my car, and they said the car was fine. There was nothing wrong with it whatsoever. And it just wouldn't accelerate. And so once you go through the Better Business Bureau auto line, they then will send it over and they will call you to start the buyback process. I also found out you could go to the general attorney's office. So I sent everything to them. And then, the other route is to go through a lawyer. But once you go through a lawyer, they take all your money and you go home with nothing. So it took me 110 days. And yesterday I finally signed my buyback. I lost about $10,000 on the whole thing, but they finally took the car back and the process is finally over. But the whole time, Mike Maroney, I had to cancel my own car warranties because they said they would send the paperwork to cancel them. I called the people. They said they never received it from Mike Maroney, so I had to do it myself. And then the middle of the buyback, because you have to have like a dealership host it. And, me being a single mom and never having this issue, because you never expect to buy a brand new car and be without it for months. And they decided, because they emailed me and I left an honest review. You'll see it on MikeMaroney.com on the website. I left an honest review. They don't answer your calls. I showed proof of the calls and I showed proof of the Better Business Bureau. Mm-hmm. And since I left an honest review, they canceled hosting my buyback. So it set me back about 2 weeks or so because I had to find another dealership to host it. So thank God Schumacher on Northlake, a guy named Dale, he helped me because once I got the car back from Mike Maroney after 85 days, They had it parked out front. I only had a 1 mile difference from the day I dropped it off to the day I picked it up. And the car was louder. It made sounds. I couldn't brake. I was literally in the middle of the road, like flooring my brake pedal. And I called Mike Maroney on Monday, and I was like, hey, y'all gave me this car back, and I can't brake in it. And it's making really loud sounds. They said, oh, well, you're limit lawing it anyway. What's the big deal? Okay. They refused to, like, look at it. And I know they didn't test drive it because they would have heard it. So Schumacher has been amazing because they took me. They took my car, repaired it, and need a whole new exhaust system. They had to bleed my brakes because there was air in my brake lines. They put me in a loaner. I didn't have to pay the deposit or nothing on a rental. And then they offered to host my buyback. So I was able to finally do the buyback because Mike Maroney backed out last minute from doing my buyback. So that was the only way I got to do it because you have to find a dealership to host it yourself.
Well,
Wow.
What an interesting story. Before
story,
we
that's
get
a nightmare.
Yes, before we get
And
to...
I have all the documents.
Yeah, let me
Before we
just-
get to any comments, Nikki, I'd like
let
to
me
say
jump in.
that you really broke through a male-dominated industry. You broke through the barriers, and my compliments to you. And all of the female listeners are listening right now. They're listening to every word you said, and I'd like for you to repeat the name of the dealership.
It's Mike Maroney
Thank you.
Okeechobee Boulevard.
Thank you, Earl.
That was really my point that I wanted to make, is that Mike Maroney is not the real owner of that dealership. Mike Maroney sold out to AutoNation a long time ago, and AutoNation is a national traded over the New York Stock Exchange. It's a big company, and the president, the head guy, the guy that owns that dealership, in that sense, is Mike Manley, Manlay. Mike Manley is the CEO of AutoNation. So you really, Nikki, did an amazing job in navigating your way through that terrible treatment you got. Hopefully, in fact, I will see to it that AutoNation knows about Mike Maroney Chevrolet. They have a general manager in there at this dealership that should be, I was going to say fired. Firing isn't a good enough thing for this guy. But to run a dealership, to treat you the way they treated you, and from the service department to the general manager, this is the worst I've seen of an AutoNation store. And as I say, in general, AutoNation runs a pretty good store. But when you have 250 stores, which is about how many they have, they're one of the largest auto groups in the country. There's always a rotten apple in every barrel, and you found the rotten apple in AutoNation's barrel, and that's Mike Maroney Chevrolet. And you fought it. You fought the good fight. You fought the smart fight, and they got what they deserved. And we got one more bullet we can fire, and that's the one that goes right to the president, Mike Manley of AutoNation. He will go into that store, and he can do more to correct things than General Motors can. General Motors has very little power, unfortunately, with franchise automobile dealers. A Chevrolet dealer can get away with a lot, and Chevrolet can't really do much about it, or General Motors can't do much about it because of state franchise laws. But who can do something about it is the owner. And we'll get the real owner of that dealership, and he will clean house, I'm sure, when he finds out your story. And we will be sure that he gets your complete story. And I can't thank you enough for calling Nancy and telling us about that nightmare.
Yes, no, Nancy is the only person. I emailed her because my uncle Gary listens to this show every week. And he loves it. So he's like, call her. I know she could help you. And she literally responded to my emails. She, tried to help me figure it out.
Sure.
She's been the nicest person during this whole process because usually people don't care. And everyone doesn't have to care that, I'm a single mom and I have 4 kids and one is special needs. That's no one's problem but mine. But that's why I bought a really big car, make my family happy. But I ended up in a Chevy Malibu, broke down, and Mike Maroney did not care. Like, no one goes through in 85 days, I went through 5 car rentals with them.
Oh, my.
So, yeah. And then the manager there, like I said, Alex, and they even giggled about it at the front desk when I came in with my son. I was like, hey, my car is broken down again. The rental you gave me, my car's been in service for, 60 days or whatever it was at that time. And he just like chuckled. And there was a service guy there that sells cars. And he kind of laughed. He's like, yeah, someone else's car was here for a long time. And once he got a lawyer, he got his car, bought back and stuff. I was like, they really think this is like a funny game to people. They didn't really care at all. And Adam does not care. And if you look at their reviews, I'm not the only one with the same complaint. Adam will ghost you, not say nothing. And I was just literally stuck. And yesterday was my official buyback. So now I literally don't have a car whatsoever. But it's like better not to have the car that was a piece of crap than, dealing with what I was dealing with Mike Maroney, because I offered them to, can we trade it in? Can we do something? I need a car. They never cared, not once.
Well, I'm going to see to it that you are connected with AutoNation and with their president, and I assure you'll get some communication, and we'll see what they'll do, other than just get rid of the people that are working there that shouldn't be. They might want to do something to try to get your confidence back in the AutoNation name. You probably, had you known it was an AutoNation store, but you didn't. See, this is what I don't like about AutoNation, is they allow some dealerships to use a different name. And they don't put their name.
I do nothing.
And a lot of people don't know that. So I think it should be, if a big corporation or an individual owns a business, they should put their name on it, or at least
Absolutely.
not. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think it's over yet, Nikki. I think that you're going to get something more. I can't promise it, but I do promise you AutoNation will know about it. And my guess is they'll step up and give you some help in this direction. And we'd like to hear from you next week, and hopefully by next week you'll have heard from AutoNation.
Yeah, no, I got something great out of it. I got Nancy. She was amazing.
Yeah.
And you have a wonderful wife, and I just really, really appreciate her, reaching out to me and helping me along the way. Because, like I said, most people would have given up by now, and that's kind of what they do to people.
Exactly.
Mike Maroney wants to bully you, and wait till your warranties are up and kind of stick you with this lemon and not care because it's not their problem. And especially being a woman and with so many children, it's like it's a hard task to figure out how to do all these steps. And that's when I learned you have to go through the Better Business Bureau auto line, then you have to go to the General Attorney's office. And it's just a bunch of steps, and I have all the documents to everything I say so I could back up my proof. And like Mike Maroney, like I said, last minute tried to not get me to do my buyback because they pulled out. But the only person that was nice the whole time, and she had nothing to do with it, was Nancy.
Well,
she was the nicest person.
You're a real fighter. I think maybe there might be a relationship. You'll have to check back and see if you and Nancy might be related, because the two of you have a lot in common.
Nikki, I can only leave you with this thought. Mike Maroney intent was to break you. You know what they did? They empowered you, and you realized that your voice must be heard, and it was an important voice. And, at the end of the day, this could be a much more, how could I say, devastating story. Here you were driving around, and these, well, I won't go into any adjectives, and I don't think you're. There goes my husband breaking all the rules. Those bastards. Anyway.
Being stuck on the side of the road It was awful because I even told him when my car broke down, I'm like, hey, my son has autism and he goes to autism summer camp and I have to pick him up at a certain time. They're like, yeah, you'll have a car there at a certain time. Thank God my son has amazing therapists, and drove my autistic son to my office because they didn't tell me to back a car until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I called them at 9 o'clock in the morning and told them I was broke down.
Yeah. And with special, these children that you have, this dealership had no idea the detrimental effects that it had on your children and you.
Absolutely.
And you know what I'd like to see happen? I would like to see you being compensated by that dealership for all the unnecessary hours that you spent on this journey, I'll call it, this journey
Absolutely.
that you've been on. And my hat is off to you, Nikki. You are a powerhouse and someone to be reckoned with. Rick.
I just wanted to mention this. Donovan has a comment here where he says, Earl, are you sure that's an AutoNation store? Mike Maroney was the former CEO or COO of AutoNation, but he's not with them anymore, and it looks like he's been buying a few dealerships by himself. He left AutoNation in 2015, and he bought that dealership, the Chevrolet, from Roger Dean. And I pulled up on Google, and it says Mike Maroney Chevrolet is owned by Maroney USA, a dealership group led by Mike Maroney. He purchased that from Roger Dean in December 20. It was jointly owned by Maroney and Patty Dean since 2017. And in 2020, Maroney USA assumed full ownership and renamed it Mike Maroney Chevrolet.
Well, thank you. As usual, Donovan is better than
thank you,
Google or
Donovan.
ChatGPT. I apologize, Nikki, for that mistake. But Maroney was one of the founders of original executives of AutoNation, and I didn't realize he personally bought that store. So, but we still have Maroney, and Maroney is a public figure he's still alive, and he just doesn't have a lot of contact with his stores. I will be sure that he gets that contact. If I can't talk to AutoNation, I'll talk to the man himself, who is not. He has several stores, and like so many dealers with several stores, he doesn't stay on top of it. And I thank Donovan for that information. But we're still going to help you, Nikki. And we got some other callers here.
Yeah,
so.
we do. Thank you, Donovan. I really appreciate it. Nikki, let me also add to this, because this is your first time calling Earl on Cars. You've earned yourself $50 this morning, and you certainly can use it. Not only the $50, but you have earned yourself a subscription to the Consumer Report. I don't know whether you need that or not, with all of the knowledge and the education that you yourself have acquired. But the Consumer Report does help with so much, and you've earned yourself, as I said, a year's subscription. If you stay on the line, Nikki, you can give Jeremy your contact information. He'll give it to me. I'll write the check out, and I'll mail it to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Nikki,
And
this
y'all are
isn't the
amazing.
end of you and I. We'll stay in touch with each other.
Absolutely. You're stuck with me forever. I hope you have an amazing day.
Thank you, Nikki. God bless you and your children. And thank you for sharing your story here at Earl on Cars. We're going to go to a first-time caller, and her name is Tina. Good morning, Tina.
Yes.
Good morning. You're calling from Jupiter?
Yes, I am calling from Jupiter. How are
Very
you?
good, Tina. Tina, if you stay on the line after we're done talking, you've won yourself $50 this morning and a subscription to the Consumer Report. You can leave all your contact information in the control room with Jeremy. He'll pass that along to me, and I'll get that check out to you. What can we do for you this morning?
Okay, so I bought a Camry hybrid all-wheel drive in January, and my mileage is not good. It's only about 32 miles a gallon now. I started at 29 miles a gallon when I bought the car, which was the end of January.
Really?
So I called the dealership. I called the service, Earl Stewart Service, and they told me that the car has to get used to me, and I've never heard that before.
Interesting.
Well, all our modern cars since about 2005, I want to say, and on up, have what are known as learning computers.
Can I interrupt just for a second? Do you remember the name of the person who told you the car had to get used to you?
Oh, I wish I did. I wish I would have taken notes.
Well, I wish you did too, because I want to slap him in the face. And I'd love to know somebody that would make a stupid comment to one of my customers. But I'm sorry, Rick. Go ahead.
I believe it was one of the managers. I know you have two managers there in service, right? It was one of them. But I'm sorry, I do not remember the name.
Well, I'll get you. I'll contact you and try to get a description, and that way I can identify him.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking by phone. I called by phone.
No, I get it. I see. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that probably was what was going through his mind when he told you that. But it's really they're learning computers in that they learn how you drive, and the car will try to adapt to your driving style. But that's not the car. It's not like the car has to learn you in order to get good mileage. The number one thing that I always recommend when you're concerned about your fuel economy is make sure you check the tire pressures first, and make sure the tire pressures aren't getting a little bit low, because that can have a big effect on fuel economy. And the other thing is, especially with hybrids, if you want to get the best of fuel economy out of them, you have to learn how to drive the car properly, because it's a hybrid. It's very different from a normal gasoline engine type car.
I have had a Corolla before that.
Okay.
My first Toyota was a Camry 2020, and then I bought a Corolla hybrid 2022. And this past January, I bought the Camry Hybrid XSE. And I love the car, but the mileage stinks.
Yeah. Those are all awesome cars. Now, unfortunately, we do have one problem here, especially in Florida right now, and that is this summertime heat. And the air conditioning on all cars, even a hybrid, it still gets its power from the gasoline engine. And when it gets hot out, everything has to work a lot harder. So it does use more fuel that way. But my recommendation is watch a couple of YouTube videos for what's known as hypermiling. It's HYPERMILING. And there's a lot of folks out there on YouTube that drive hybrids and EVs, and they will share with you these different tips and ways to drive the car that will extend your fuel economy to phenomenal levels. Now, most of these guys, they take it to the extreme, and they get really crazy with it. So just sort of like listen to what they say and try to drive the car just a little better like they recommend, and I think you'll see your fuel economy increase. The other thing is make sure that you're not carrying a lot of extra stuff in the car, like, a lot of things in the back or in the trunk that may help weigh it down, because the more weight you have in the car, the worse your fuel economy is going to be.
Yeah, my trunk is empty.
Okay.
The mileage is supposed to be between 44 and 47 miles a gallon, and I've had the car for 6 months now, and I'm still only getting 33.
Yeah.
So, I am very disappointed. I'm a very good driver. I had one accident in 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not a reckless driver. I'm.
Oh no, it's just learning to drive a hybrid. You have to relearn a lot of ways of how to drive hybrids in order to get that high fuel economy.
So this is another point. I had a Corolla hybrid for 2 years, and I got 50 miles a gallon, 50.
Right, but
so I know how to drive a hybrid.
It just the Corolla is a much smaller vehicle, so it's going to get much better fuel economy. And
I understand that,
Yeah.
but the advertisement was between 44 and 47 miles a gallon.
Tina, I do have to say that it was an asinine statement, to make. And just speaking to you, you sound like as if that you're very knowledgeable, and you know that you've got a problem here, and you want it taken care of. And your disappointment, you shouldn't even feel that whenever you purchase a new car. This is supposed to be a transition into a happy time, and there was some substance to what Rick said, but also I'll add to that. You know, when we're looking at temperatures that are, you know, a heat index of 112, 114, it has an amazing impact not only on vehicles but a human being and everything in between. But my heart still goes out to you and your disappointment with your Camry. And I believe that you said you purchased that in January. So you're still waiting, you know, for the light at the end of the tunnel. So
Right.
I do want to let you know, it sounds like, without a doubt, I'm giggling here because you do know how to drive. You are very knowledgeable. You need answers. And the answer that you got, it was not what should have been said, nor what you wanted to hear.
Correct.
Okay.
So I will make an appointment at Earl Stewart because my 6 months maintenance is coming up, and hopefully they can help me.
Yes, that's. I'm really happy to hear you say that you're going back, and I want to extend an invitation to you to please stay in touch with us here at Earl on Cars and keep us abreast of the outcome of that appointment.
I will do that.
Okay, Tina. Thank you so much. Stay on the line. Give Jeremy your information.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend. Okay, we're going to go to Lane, who has the patience of a priest. And Lane has been holding. He calls us from Fort Myers. Good morning, Lane.
I think my questions are almost inconsequential in listening to everything going on this morning.
No, everybody's important.
I feel so bad. I feel so bad for that woman with the kids because although I'm a male, I've been in the same situation talking to people trying to get things fixed, and they just keep playing with you because they hope you go away in frustration.
Yes.
So my hat's off to her. My hat's really off to her. But I got hopefully an easy question for Rick this morning.
Okay. Rick?
Rick?
Right here.
I have, my friend Deb has a 1999 Lexus LS 400. It has 165,000 miles on it, and it drives like a dream. It's a beautiful car, absolutely gorgeous car.
Okay, so it's only got like another 15 years and another 200,000 miles left in it.
Miles to go. Exactly. But she just drove it to Branson. Then she goes from Fort Myers, the Cookeville, Tennessee site of the Secret Shopper last week or the week before, to Branson, Missouri, back to Cookeville, then back to here. And for the whole trip, she had no problems with the car overheating. But on the time between going from Cookeville back to here to Fort Myers, she was in stop-and-go traffic, and the outside thermometer was showing 100 degrees. Now, the car started to overheat. The temperature gauge went up above where it normally was, and so she shut off the air conditioner. Now, this is 100 and something outside, and the thermostat, the temperature gauge stayed at a position above where it normally is. She got it back here, and I took a look at the car. I pulled on the fan clutch, and that's solid. I looked at the fluid. The fluid's full, but it's over 10 years old there, the Toyota fluid. And I checked to make sure there's no leaks, nothing leaking from the pump or anything else like that, and it all looked good. We had replaced, though, we had almost the same issue 2 years ago on the same run when the actual temperature gauge went to the high, into the red zone. And in order to keep the car running, we had to turn the heat on when it was on 100 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And they replaced the thermostat. That's 2 years ago. What do you think could be going on with this car? I'm not really sure. At first, I thought maybe the fan clutch, but I also noticed there's a electric motor fan between the radiator and the grill. And I don't know if that's for when you turn on the AC, if that's supposed to come on, or, you know, any ideas what I could be looking at?
Yeah, the electric fan up on the front there, that's the auxiliary fan for when you turn the air conditioning on. It gets extra airflow across the condenser and the radiator itself. But the main thing is that's to get airflow across the condenser, so when you're going at slower speeds, the AC can be more efficient. However, if that fan is starting to get old and worn, that motor may not be getting as efficient as it should. So you may not be getting enough airflow. And even that clutch fan on the front of it, it may feel right, but at higher speeds when the engine's running, that may not be pulling enough air through that radiator to really keep the car cool at those higher temperatures. And like you say, with it being over 100 degrees, that can have a big effect on it. The place I would start is I would have those two fans evaluated by a mechanic, and possibly even just consider replacing both of them right off the bat.
Okay.
If the thermostat's only 2 years old, I wouldn't be too concerned on it. And obviously, you say the fluid level's good, and you got no signs of a leak. So those are the spots I would start, is with those actual fans.
Should I change the fluid? It's over 10 years old in that car.
It couldn't hurt to do that. That could certainly make a difference. And I'd also be looking at the radiator and the condenser itself to make sure that the fins aren't damaged, and bent over, and make sure that you're not like clogged up with dirt and debris, because cleaning those out, just spraying them just with a regular water hose with a hand nozzle can help get any dirt and debris out of there and allow for better airflow across those radiators.
When she got up to speed, and I took it out on the highway, when that car is at speed, it doesn't overheat. You can run the AC and everything. So I think you're right.
Yeah, because it's all about the airflow and the heat transfer.
Yeah. Okay. One other thing with that car, and it's something new. When she pulled in, I heard this rearing sound. You know the sound that an electric vehicle makes, so people can hear it.
Yeah.
Yep.
This car is making that now, and you can hear it. It's not that loud, but I hear it. And the first thing that went through my mind was the fan clutch, but then I dismissed it. And then I said to myself, "Oh my God, I hope it's not a torque converter." And but the car shifts beautiful. It's like butter. It's a wonderful car.
And you're hearing this sound while you're driving? Only while it's moving?
You can hear it when you put it into gear, and you hear this. It's low. It's not very, very high. It's very low, but you hear it, and it's new for us. So I'm looking at it, I'm going, "Oh God, is that something they can?"
Is it while you're sitting still, or when you're actually moving?
To get it to make the noise, you have to move. But once you've been moving and you put it in the park, you may still hear it.
Ah,
but
okay.
Not initially when you start it.
Okay. That could possibly be the torque converter, but it's a noise like that could have so many causes. Yeah. I wouldn't want to scare you by saying, "Oh yeah, this has got to be it," because there's just so many different sources for that. Yeah, if you're still hearing it when the car is not moving, that rules out axles and wheel bearings and things like that.
Right.
And that could possibly even be that fan clutch. If that fan clutch is starting to get a little shaky inside and it's maybe making a little noise, that could possibly be that as well.
Okay, well, I'll take care of the things you asked that you talked about, and I appreciate your information. Could I ask you just one quick question out of curiosity?
Sure.
Certainly.
I watch a lot of shows how to fix things, and I listen to this Corvette show, and they have a tech show on it, and they have this master Corvette technician from a dealership. And for these new C8 Corvettes, their alternator does not charge. It maintains the battery at the state it's at, but it will not charge it above where it's at. Have you heard of that? And are all new cars that way?
No, because unless you're getting over the normal 12.6 volts that a car battery is normally at, you're not going to put any real power back into it. Because voltage, to understand electricity, you'd have to understand Ohm's law. But you have to have a higher voltage in order to push the electricity, the amperage, back into that battery. Otherwise, you're not going to get any change in the battery. So it would kind of have to be over that 12.6. Normally, something like 13 to 14 volts, 13 and a half to
Right.
14 and a half volts, in order to actually push it, because voltage is actually the pushing force on the electrons flowing through the wires.
Well,
And if you're
I'll
not
listen
pushing
to
them,
more.
they're not going to move.
I heard that and I said, wow. But I've taken up too much time. I appreciate your input. I'm going to run with it. And thanks, everybody, for having a great show.
Thank you, Lane.
You're very welcome.
Hope to hear from you again. Good luck. We're going to go to Michael, who has been holding from Palm Beach Gardens. Good morning, Michael.
Yes, good morning. Is the lemon law does that still apply? You know, if a vehicle that's under warranty and they can't resolve the problem, can you get a replacement or refund?
Normally, with lemon law for Florida, if the vehicle cannot be repaired for 3 attempts by the dealership, it'll go to arbitration, and the manufacturer will basically try to buy back the car for the lowest amount that they can give you, which is why you want to try to have an attorney, on your side, or at least make sure you're educated as how to handle it, and they will try to give you back money to cover what you paid for the car, and they're usually going to try to find a way to take some back from you.
It's pro rata. In other words, if you've got 50,000 miles on the car or 5 miles on the car, depends on what you get back. So if you haven't used the car, it's only got 100 miles on it, you get all your money back. If you got 50,000 miles on the car, they'll give you a percentage of what you paid for it back.
Well, then, would that apply for Nikki for her situation?
Yeah, it could, and Nikki's case is a little bit more complicated because of the rough treatment. So, oftentimes, manufacturers will make a judgment to take care of a customer based on how badly they were abused. Just a clear-cut lemon law case, the black and white is it's a pro rata refund. But if they were lied to and deceived, oftentimes they will overcompensate to avoid a lawsuit. So in Nikki's case, she should get 100% of her money back.
Right. Okay, thanks for I really enjoy the show. You guys are quite informative. I appreciate listening.
Well,
Thank you,
very
Michael.
much.
Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend. The lemon law, Earl, varies from state to state, correct?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
So that's something to consider amongst so many other factors as far as...
And there are very few states that have no lemon law, but it's only about 5 states. We should get that information for our audience.
Yes. I'd like to share more on the lemon law, but we have an enormous amount of calls this morning, so we're going to go right to Barry, who's been holding from Tampa. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning, everybody. Today I'd like to ask about a Swiss Army knife of travel services. I'm talking about AAA, and I'd like to focus on just 2 of those knife blades. First, when a car manufacturer's roadside assistance subscription runs out, is it generally better to resubscribe or switch to AAA or maybe some other option?
AAA is a good choice. It's almost a question of your tolerance for risk. All of the roadside assistance services, in my opinion, are overpriced, including AAA. But if you want that comfort zone, AAA would be the best one to use. Most of the roadside assistance that dealers either give you or sell you aren't worth a damn. And I wouldn't buy a roadside assistance from a dealer. And if he gave it to you free, I consider that it's just worth what you paid for it. Nothing.
Okay, that's pretty clear. Second, how meaningful is AAA's endorsement of a repair shop? Is it just a wall sign that the business can pay for, or does it represent meaningful standards that are verified somehow?
It's like so many other things. It's as good as the local representation of AAA. There's one thing that's not interpretation that I like is that AAA will not allow a dealer to be a AAA affiliated if they have a junk fee in the service department. So every dealer that I know, my dealership is the only one that I don't know that I know that does not have a junk fee in their service department. So when you go to any other dealership and you have service done, they charge you for all the services naturally, but in the bottom of the invoice, sometimes without even a label, but oftentimes with a misleading label like hazardous waste disposal, or you know how the dealers name the junk fees when they sell you the car. They come up with some sort of a name that is completely misleading and charges you too much money for something that you didn't pay for. It could be a small fee, $10 or $20, or it could be a couple $100. And so the AAA won't allow a dealer to be affiliated if they have that fee. The other thing I like about the AAA is they will arbitrate a dispute. So if the dealership tells you to take a walk and we're not going to talk to you, you contact the AAA, and they have their representation come in and an independent third party and make a judgment. So I do like that AAA, those two AAA features.
Okay. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you very much.
Well,
You're
thank you for
welcome,
the call.
Barry. Have a great weekend. Our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can also text us at 772-497-6530. Please take advantage of your anonymous feedback.com. You know, back to the lemon law, there was one other thing that I wanted to mention, and that was a time frame. And you have to really be careful because states offer, they differ in how long a consumer has after purchasing a vehicle, and you really need to move quickly once you decide that you are going to, go for the lemon law. So take advantage of that and do it quickly. 877-960-9960, and we're going to go to Marty, one of our favorite callers from West Palm Beach. Thank you for your patience, Marty.
Okay, hi. A couple points. First point, I want to tell that Nikki, I have not bought a General Motors car since the year 2000. I've only bought, and this is not an advertisement for Earl Stewart Toyota, but I've only bought Toyotas and Hondas. So as far as I'm concerned, buying a Chevy is a waste of money. Second thing, to the lady that's not getting the mileage or the gas mileage.
Yes.
I'm not getting it on my Crown either. However, I'm not going to move to Alaska because of the heat here to see if I can get the better mileage. So I've had the car for a year and a half, and I guess the car hasn't gotten used to me yet.
I'm going to find that guy.
Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, as long as the car runs good and you don't have any problems, to me, that's worth more than the 5 more miles to the gallon. But I'm getting average 36. And if you look at the ad for the Crown, it's either 41 or 42. I have gotten 40 a couple times, which I considered had to be a fluke.
One of the big issues is that when they set those fuel economy readings that are on the Monroney sticker, they do that on like a test track, and they do it in like perfect world situation where they've got just a nice simple road that they drive on with no other traffic. You're not in the middle of suddenly rush hour traffic where you're stuck waiting through 5 cycles of the light to get through the light. You're not dealing with, out on the turnpike and all of a sudden everybody's doing 90 and you have to keep up with traffic or you're going to get run over. Real world, those numbers are never going to be what the engineers will claim for it, because engineers, they live in their own world. They have their own perfect world in their minds, and that's where they exist. And the rest of us, we exist here with real world. And another big drawback to Alaska, if you think the mosquitoes here are bad, they have mosquitoes the size of small hawks up there. So yeah, no, I'm not going to Alaska anytime soon either.
I heard they actually carry the children away.
Yeah.
All right, I got one other question to ask Earl.
Yeah.
In all the advertising I see on Toyota, they never advertise a Toyota Crown. In most dealerships, if they have one or two, that's a lot. And
Yeah.
I'm wondering what Earl thinks about that.
Well, they're not in the, Toyota's not in the luxury market, but they are in the luxury market with Lexus. So that's where they focus their, you're driving a luxury car. I mean, Crown is a luxury car. But Toyota wants to cover the luxury market, but they do that with their Lexus division. So with Toyota, there's like about, your average middle class person buys a Toyota, and they don't make enough money for electric. That's the reason they don't build too many of them. And it's just a matter of advertising money's being spent where it'll do the most.
Okay, well, I consider the Crown replacing the Avalon.
It did, but it replaced it even better. It's a higher priced, more of a Lexus type car than the Avalon was. So you've really got yourself a Lexus with a Toyota nameplate.
All right.
And Marty, I remember you looking at the Crown and making that decision, based on the Avalon and how happy you were. Before I let you go, let me ask you one question. What was your gas mileage when you purchased the vehicle?
It was always in the 30s.
Okay.
It was never in the 40s, the low 40s.
Yeah.
Do you ever go to North Carolina on vacation?
No, I don't go too far.
Well, if you did, you could go up to the top of the mountain there and drive it down, and you really get some good gas mileage.
As far as I go, usually is West Palm to Palm Beach Gardens.
Earl's a real comedian. Hey, Marty, thank you so much for the call.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Earl on Cars. I want to make an announcement to all of you who tried to get through this morning, and there were quite a few of you that gave up. Please give us a call back, because we are going to keep the lines open, the phone lines open, until we're going to go to maybe 9:25. We'll see what happens here, see if everyone calls back. For now, we're going to go to John in Palm City. Good morning, John.
Good morning. I want to thank Earl and Nancy again for the honor of being chosen for this plaque as a long-term caller on the show.
The plaque has been ordered, by the way, and
I look forward to receiving it.
Yeah, we've got that. We've got the layout. You're really going to like it.
Yeah, it's going to
really
be
nice
beautiful.
looking plaque.
Yeah.
But the important thing that I want to mention is...
Before you do, John, I want to let you know that I did receive your letter and all the information, and we want to thank you for that.
That's my pleasure. I want to say, Nancy, this is not the first time that you have helped in that incident today to the female that got ripped off. If you remember correctly, your original shows were only a half hour, so in order to extend benefits to people, you appeared on libraries, church groups, Chamber of Commerce's, and I particularly remember at a very large church in Palm Beach County, you featured a story, the woman was there personally, of a woman that was ripped off, very aggressive woman. I think she even marched on a dealership that cheated her, watched up and down on the outside sidewalk of this dealership with a sign. But Nancy was the one that helped her finally to recover whatever problem that she had at that dealership. So Earl and Nancy Stewart go beyond a radio show. Earl with a weekly column newspaper. The half-hour show was not enough to participate people with their problems. So it's Earl and Nancy that went way beyond and still go beyond the show of Earl Stewart on Cars. If you remember also, that church had a tremendous group that attended, and every one of them was given a copy of Earl's book on cars. So
Yeah, that
might
was
have
a
been,
great.
well, that might have been United Methodist. I think I
yes,
remember.
it was.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's who it was.
Yeah,
So
and the
what I wanna say
Confessions
is
of a
how-
Recovering Car Dealer, was passed out at each and every event that we had. But John, most of all, I want to thank you for the recognition. And this, I'm going to call it a job, has been for Earl and I so rewarding because we've helped so many. The list is endless. I don't have time to go through 21 years, of us helping, and we hope, that we can help a hell of a lot more because you would think in this 21st century that things had changed enormously, but there's sometimes whenever to myself I say, I feel like as if that sometimes for women we're still living in the 50s, but I say to myself, don't give up hope, just let your voice be heard and remind everyone, men and women, that we do have this show and that we can help so many. And John, we're so thankful for you.
And you guys have done it in the past and presently, so we always look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
God bless you too, John. Tell Irene we said hello. Have a great weekend. We're going to, who is also a regular caller from Jupiter Farms. Good morning, Frank.
Well, good morning, Earl, Nancy, and the whole gang. It'll be kind of short because I listen to your show. I know you got a lot of folks calling in, but we were stopped at the Cadillac dealership at 45th Street in Congress the other day. It used to be Scooney or something like that. We were in the area and we had some time to kill, so we went in. We were going to get a cup of coffee. They no longer give you free coffee. You want a drink or something, you got to buy something in the machine.
That was Schooley Cadillac.
It used to be Scooney, yes. I've got a beautiful Cadillac certified used DTS for my mom many, many years ago. It was for her 80th birthday. I was going to surprise her.
Oh.
And it was really, it was totally loaded. It was only had a couple of thousand miles. And she lived in Miami, and when I brought it down to give it to her, she said, I told you I wanted, that white, pearl white or whatever it was called. Now I can't think of it. They're really sparkling white. And this was a light blue with beautiful leather interior, we used chrome wheels. So, of course, they wouldn't take it back, so I kept that. And I went and got her what she was in white. Of course, I don't know why I can't think of it today. But anyway, so I went in there, and there was a lady sitting there, very befuddled. And I said, what's wrong? She said, I've been here for 4 hours trying to get my oil changed, and it's still not done. And I said, you need to call Earl Stewart on Saturday morning. And we gave, I have your number memorized, 877-960-9960. People look at me. And I said, you also will make $50 for making the call. And they, what? And they said, yeah. I didn't hear her call in, but maybe she'll call next week.
Yeah.
Another guy we saw at the car wash, this guy was really cool. It made me think about the lemon law because he had a problem with his VW. And he went back so much back and forth that they actually ended up giving him a brand new VW. I think it was Atlas. And he takes it in every day to get a wash. And I go, my goodness, it looks brand new, and it was. But he hasn't called in yet either. But it's interesting, especially when we see some women somewhere at the car wash. I said, now I got to find a better way of approaching them. I said, would you like to make $50 for a phone call? And they look at me and go, you pervert, what are you talking about?
Well, maybe we ought to put some signs up. If you have a problem, call this number, problem with your car, because I never thought about that. What better place to get car owners than the car wash? They got time on their hands.
Everyone's just sitting around. But anyway.
Great idea.
Always, and is there for the female callers, is there an age minimum? my granddaughter would call you guys and talk about her car, her mother's car, and I said, I don't think that'll work out, but I want to clear it with you first.
Well, of course, yeah, they would qualify, but the reason I was laughing is it would really be funny if a 5-year-old just picked up the phone. Technically, we'd owe her $50. So,
and that can happen. These children are using phones.
They know more about phones than I do.
Unfortunately, their parents' phones, and they're making long-distance phone calls. That's the truth.
No, anyway. Well, I'll let you get back to the other folks, but as always, it's a great weekend, and it's always made a little greater by hearing you guys on the air.
Well, thank you for talking about us. Go ahead, Earl.
Yeah, thanks very much, Frank. I just had a point I wanted to make. I have to get permission from Nancy because she runs the controls here. Can I talk?
You want to? You did make it, or you what?
Yeah, Frank. It's not to you. I've got to. You can stay tuned. There's something important that I wanted to get out that we haven't mentioned yet, and we're not at the end of the show, but we're getting closer. The Napleton dealer group has had their franchise terminated in West Palm Beach for their Hyundai, their Kia, and their Genesis dealerships. I might be wrong about Kia, but there have been 3 dealerships that were terminated by a federal judge. And a termination means, finito, that's it. Just like it sounds. Now, Florida law steps in and says that you're allowed to remain in business after you've been terminated for 30 days. So those dealerships I mentioned are still in business. Now here's the important part. The reason I think this is worth noting either way, but the reason they terminated him was because he had a son, or he has a son, who was charged and convicted of rape of a
female employee.
A female employee, I believe, and the status of that arrest, I'm not entirely sure. That went back and forth in the courts. I'm pretty sure the son was found guilty, and
he's on 5-year probation. He didn't get jail time.
Yeah. So the point is this: Genesis in West Palm Beach and Kia and Hyundai by Napleton are still open for business. Now, I'm going to surprise everybody now. I'm going to say something that I can't believe Earl's defending Napleton, but I got to be fair. I mean, I just can't be honest about good guys. Sometimes I have to be honest about a bad guy. Napleton is a bad guy in terms of car dealerships, but I don't see the justice in canceling a man's business because of the action of his son. Now, the son might have had some ownership in the dealership or something like that. I have 3 sons in the dealership. I work hard. I've got a lot of money invested in my dealership, and I don't think one of my sons would do anything like that, but assuming one did, I would think it would be totally unfair to cancel my Toyota franchise. So this is what happened with the federal judge. And again, Napleton, Hyundai, Kia, and Genesis are still open for business. Now, here's what's going to happen is Napleton's not stupid. He might be crooked, but he's not stupid. He's going to appeal this. And you can keep something in the appeals courts for years. And he's got the money to do that. I mean, he could hire a lot of lawyers that could hold this thing up for years and years. What this will do, if he wants to sell, see, if you're terminated, you have nothing to sell. The value of a car dealership is worth the franchise from the manufacturer. For example, a Toyota franchise is worth one hell of a lot of money. A Genesis franchise is worth a lot of money. A Kia franchise, maybe not so much, but the contract, that's a franchise that you have with the manufacturer, is really worth oftentimes more than what the physical assets of the dealership are, the brick and mortar and the alignment machine and the rest of it. So you lose most of the value of the dealership when it's terminated. So he has now 30 days to sell, and when he appeals this, he'll have a long time to sell if he wants to sell. So, but this is going to hang over him. Now, here's the irony. I know this is long, but hear this out. The irony is he's a terrible dealer. he takes advantage of his customers. He lies and cheats and steals and gets away with it because the Attorney General of the state of Florida and the Federal Trade Commission and all the other authorities let him. Now,
That's a great point.
yeah,
It really is.
Here they're trying to get rid of him
Yeah.
because his
Based-
son did something wrong. Get rid of him because he's lying and cheating and stealing, taking advantage of customers. And that's true because I'm saying this on the radio and I'm streaming it. And if I weren't telling the truth, Napleton would sue me too. So now, as if that isn't enough, the dealers are worried about this because if Napleton doesn't prevail and get this federal judge's decision overturned, then moral clauses will now be able to be used to terminate a dealer. Give the manufacturers more power to get rid of a dealer for a moral clause. I know dealers that have been convicted of serious crimes that are dealers today. And the reason being, the franchise laws of the state don't allow moral problems. So you can rape and you can murder and you can, as long as you don't do it to a customer. But if you're a murderer or a rapist, state franchise laws allow dealers to exist and operate the franchise. And if the law won't enforce the law against those dealers, that's just too bad. He can still be a car dealer. And I hope I didn't confuse everybody, but this is such a blatant, crazy world we live in. We got a dealer that we know shouldn't be in business, and now they're trying to get rid of him for the wrong reason. And everybody's upset. The dealers are upset about this because a lot of these dealers out there have some moral issues. I mean, there are dealers out there that have been convicted of crimes and done bad stuff, but the law has said you can't the manufacturer can't terminate that dealer because he stole something and got convicted. Yeah. Morally, you can be a moral degenerate and be a dealer by state law.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to what you said, let's talk about daughters and sons. Both apply.
Yeah.
And let me talk about the lack of morals at Napleton and all of the laws that haven't been reinforced and the number of people that I alone have spoken to that have been taken advantage of, who have been lucky to get out of the dealership with their teeth. And you can laugh, you can make a joke. I have no skin in the game.
If the morality is involved in the transaction, then they've committed a crime in the eyes of the manufacturer. But if the morality existed somewhere else, he went out to a bar and molested a minor or any terrible like, and then went back to the dealership and didn't break any laws, then they can't do anything. He can be arrested for child molestation as long as it wasn't in the dealership.
Speechless.
Yeah, me too. I'm not speechless. I talk too much, but anyway.
Yeah, as far as Napleton is concerned, this dealerships, plural, should have been closed down a long time ago. There's so many laws on the books that are not being reinforced. Let's take a look at that, and let's take a look at the number of people. I'm not saying just women. I'm saying men and women. Let's take a look at the number of people that have been taken advantage of. You think you heard a sad story this morning from Nikki? I'll tell you what, I get goosebumps. I don't have enough time on the air to share with you the number of sad stories. And you think that, the last story that you heard was the saddest. No, it definitely, you wish and you hope that was the last of a sad story. But this morning, Nikki's story, if you have a heart, it had to have torn at your heart. So with all of that said, Napleton, I can't say enough negative about Napleton. Let's enforce the laws. Let's protect the consumer. And as far as his son is concerned, I'm not even going to elaborate on that. Back to you.
Yeah, it's you have to be fair with people you don't like, and if I didn't do that,
Yeah, you were definitely,
Yeah.
as always, you're able to,
Yeah.
just give a balanced opinion.
Yeah.
And it's very important. So,
The only other thing I wanted to change the subject, but it's important that I wanted to reinforce with a lot of people that already know this, but it's important that those that don't know it know it. The Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act is very important, and and every state has something similar. In Florida, it allows the prevailing party to have their legal expenses reimbursed. In fact, it's usually the consumer. If you can sue a dealer under the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act or the Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act in your state, if you sue under that act, you have and you prevail. You win the suit. Your legal fees are reimbursed. Now that means you can sue a dealer for $1,000 and spend $100,000 on your lawyer, and then the dealer has to pay your lawyer, $100,000 plus the $1,000 he owes you. So the impact of being sued under FDUPTA, we call it in Florida, Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act, the impact of being sued really gets a dealer's attention. So the reason this is important is you can go to an attorney, and attorneys are reluctant to talk to people about car problems because they're oftentimes nickel and dime in the lawyer's mind. Even Nikki, who called in earlier, that wasn't a big money thing, and lawyers like big money things because typically they get paid contingency, 25% or 40% of the recovery. That's tough to do, and you can spend a lot of time and effort and get nothing. But under the Florida Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices, or most Unfair and Deceptive Trade Practices Act, the lawyer's eyes light up. Oh, I could do that under FDUPTA? Oh, I'll take the case. Why? Even if it's only $1,000 you're arguing about, he might pick up $25, $50 or more by the reimbursement from the loser, which would be the dealer, to the lawyer. So one of the problems that we have today, lawyers out there, you lawyers, shame on you. You need to be taking more of these cases and every time I turn the television set on, you got some lawyer out there wanting to be representing you in a traffic accident. Why? Because they can make a ton of money. Well, you lawyers out there, you can make a ton of money representing somebody like Nikki, because you can sue that dealership that took advantage of her, Maroney Chevrolet. You can sue them, run the bill up to $100,000 and get reimbursed. So you lawyers listen to that. And when somebody calls you and says, I need a lawyer, don't say, well, it's going to cost you a lot of money, or if I win, you'll get this. Say, can I get this under the Deceptive and Unfair Trade Practices Act? And if you don't know that you get reimbursed, now you know. Okay.
And Nikki, if you're still listening, I'm not sure, with all the information you and I, took advantage of this or not. I do remember you saying that, the attorney said it would cost an enormous amount of money, and it would, I think it would be more or less out of your pocket. Before we go any further, you talk about revenge, and I call it vengeance is sweet. And that story I shared when I opened the show this morning about this woman, this Tia McCreary. It's just an amazing story, and I'd like you to mention it to our audience because you can articulate it quickly, and we don't have a lot of time. That's in Lima, Ohio.
Yeah, this woman went into Lima. Was it Kia?
The name of the dealership was Taylor Kia
Oh,
of
Taylor
Lima.
Kia, yeah, Taylor Kia. Went in and bought a Kia, and they said, we checked your credit's okay, take your car home. She went home, showed her family and all her friends, look at this, I just bought a new Kia, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And don't forget what that puppy dog syndrome feels like
Yeah.
when you put that car in your driveway.
Yeah. So everybody knows, and she's so proud of it. So about a week later, they call her back and say, whoops, you got to bring the car back. And she says, why? Your credit was disapproved. She says, well, you told me the credit was approved. And argued. Long story short, they went out there, put her car on a hook, and dragged her car out of the driveway and repossessed it. So she was really, really angry about that. I mean, I can't imagine how angry you'd be if that happened. So she did a little research and found out that this particular dealership had forgot to register his name. What's the name?
The renewal application, they never renewed it.
Yeah.
And that, Taylor Automotive Group.
Taylor Automotive. So she the name was available. She bought the name or registered. She took the name. So legally, the woman owned their name. And they continued to do business and advertise. And now she sued the dealership for using her name, which was their name.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not confusing you, but I mean, what poetic justice. The poor bastards lost their name. I said to Nancy in the car, can you imagine that if someone did that to us, or they bought Earl Stewart Toyota, and suddenly Earl on cars, they'd sue me because I'm using Earl on cars.
Yeah.
Right, Earl Stewart Toyota. You can't say that. That's my name.
How do you get all that back?
Is that poetic justice or is that poetic justice?
What a great story. Okay, I think that it's 9:29, and Rick.
Can I do one thing? Can I ask Chad?
Oh, Chad.
Yeah.
Our son.
Yeah, our son, Chad. I'm just curious. I'm going to see here.
We don't have enough time for Chat, our daughter, so we'll just.
Hey, Coach, this is the professor. You've been listening to the show? What did you think of the show so far? And were there anything that you listened to that you'd like to comment on?
Hey, Professor. The show's been great so far. The discussions have been lively and informative, and I love how you all interact with the callers. Everything's running smoothly on my end, so no concerns so far.
Excellent. What do you think specifically about the Napleton issue where he was canceled because of the crime committed by his son, terminated by the Genesis and the Hyundai and the Kia manufacturer?
The whole Napleton situation is definitely a tough one. It's understandable that the manufacturers would want to maintain their reputation and ensure that their dealerships uphold high standards of ethics and honesty. It's an important reminder of how crucial transparency and integrity are in the car business.
Well, thank you very much, Coach. I just brought
You're welcome,
ChatGPT.
Professor. Always happy to help and ready whenever you need me.
I just
Let's
tried
keep the show
JBT
rolling.
out there to talk because we're trying to break him into the show without creating problems. We have some people that are annoyed by ChatGPT, including me sometimes. But it's a fact of life. It's going to get more and more a part of our lives. And Nancy and I jokingly refer to him as our son or daughter because we do very little now without checking with Chad. I mean, if I told you some of the things...
It's frightening.
Yeah. So anyway, if you haven't checked out ChatGPT, it's like Google on steroids. I mean, let me tell you, really quite a thing. And every day, Chat gets smarter and smarter. If you do, I call him. I call myself Coach, and he calls me Professor. Hey, you can have fun with him too. That's just having fun. So.
Yeah, you definitely have a relationship, and if you haven't gone to ChatGPT, I do have to say it will take you to another level, make life a whole lot easier, and most of all, there is so much news out there. There is so much going on, and you don't know whether it's fake news or it's real news, and ChatGPT can straighten it all out.
Rick, you had something you want to say earlier on. I've been talking so much I didn't.
Actually, Donovan had an interesting question. He asked, let me pull this back here. How would Earl feel if Toyota was to discontinue the Crown? Rumor is that 2026 will be the last model year for it, at least in the U.S., and the sales have fallen off 70%.
Yeah, that's a great question, Donovan, and I would feel bad about it. We're in a market where there are a lot of luxury cars sold, and we do a better job with Crowns than the average dealer. But with that said, average Toyota dealer. But with that said, we still like the car, and we love the car. I mean, not Nancy drove the car; she loved the car. Toyota dealers are jealous of Lexus, and Lexus dealers sometimes can be jealous of a Toyota dealer because we're all owned by Toyota. One of the cars that I really liked, and we got it first. I say we, Toyota got first, was the Solera, and the Solera convertible was just for us. We're in Florida. This is a convertible state. You wouldn't know it as hot as it is now, but people buy a lot of convertibles in Florida. And we sold the hell out of those Solera convertibles. They also had a hardtop, but we sold mainly convertibles. It was a beautiful car.
Beautiful.
Quality, performance-wise, and guess what? Toyota made the decision to give that car to Lexus. They didn't do it right away, but they took the Solera, gave it a makeover, and called it a Lexus. And we kept the Solera for a couple of years after that, and then they took the Solera completely away, and now Lexus has the Solera convertible. And every time I see a Lexus convertible, I get a little bit angry at Toyota.
Yeah,
but they had to do what they do to keep...
and what was the other vehicle that I drove, the Celica?
Yeah, the Celica. Almost every Toyota has a counterpart in Lexus that is pretty much under the skin. The same thing. Rick would know more than I do about that.
Yeah, you pretty much can compare all of them. Lexus gets a few models that Toyota will never get, and it's kind of too bad. But yeah, like the SC300, that was a nice little Lexus convertible, but. Yeah. I still remember those Soleras. Yeah. Boy, they were fun to drive.
Here's some practical. I'm going to get with this for shopping and report in just a second. If you're driving a Lexus, congratulations. You're in the upper level of income, and you're upper level of status, and you're driving a fantastic car. But it's still a Toyota pretty much, and I won't tell your neighbors that that's really a Toyota. I'll tell you. We can tell them it's a Lexus, and it is a Lexus. I'm only joking. The point being, you're paying a ton of money to the Lexus dealer to get it serviced. Bring it into a Toyota dealership, and they'll fix it for almost half the price. No matter, and the same thing applies to Cadillac. Bring it to a Chevrolet dealer. Acura, bring it to a Honda dealer. Chevrolet or Corvette. What did I just say? Cadillac, bring it to a Chevrolet dealer. Anyway, the luxury car franchises not only sell you luxury cars, but they charge you way too much money.
Yep. Yeah, same thing for Acura is a Honda. Yeah. And Infiniti is a Nissan.
Yeah, there's so many consumers that don't realize that, and this is where I was many years ago, and I had a Cadillac and took my car to Schoolie, and you just don't realize you don't need to go to Schoolie. Yeah. And I realized that when they said to me, why are you worried about what this is going to cost or that's going to cost? And you just learn the hard way. But there are options out there. Okay, guys, what are we going to do? Are we going to take a text? Jonathan, what do we have time for? Mystery shopping report? Okay, Anne-Marie, you're in our thoughts. Unfortunately, we've had a slam packed show.
We got to do Anne-Marie. We got to do
Okay.
Okay, hers is quick. She says, I've got two questions. Is there any car that you have regretted owning? And is there any car that you have owned that you wish you could have kept forever?
The second part is very easy. The 1957 Pontiac fuel-injected convertible I had. I'll never forget that car. I've often thought about finding one and buying it just because I love that car so much. As far as a car I hated driving, it's either a Fiat or a Peugeot. I'd say the Fiat was the worst car I ever drove. And I regretted owning it. Unfortunately, I had the Fiat franchise, and I sold them, so I couldn't talk about it. And the Peugeot was a terrible car too. And same thing, I couldn't tell people about it because I had the franchise. One month I sold 5 Peugeots, 5, and I won a trip to Paris by Peugeot.
Wow.
That shows you how bad sales were.
Okay, Rick, you answered all of Anne Marie's questions?
Yep.
Anne Marie, thank you so much. I don't get a chance to thank you week in and week out. You have become a great part of the show and a representation to women. Okay, we have our mystery shopping report, and it comes to us from Schumacher Chevrolet, and Agent Lightning did a great job, and Stu's eloquent writing has performed again this week, and he wrote a very interesting mystery shopping report. You can vote at 772-497-6530. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Yeah, just in case you didn't get that, 772-497-6530. Please vote. And no A's or F's, please. We like to stay in the curve area, like a B to a D. All right, mystery shop of Schumacher Chevrolet, and that's in Palm Beach Gardens or North Palm Beach, I guess.
The mystery shopping report from Schumacher Chevrolet, and that's all the information I have.
I arrived early in the morning. I'm speaking in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning, our undercover agent. I arrived early in the morning with my grandson until figuring it would make an interesting shop. It's great cover. You come in with a little kid. They don't spot you as a mystery shopper. And that's the reason I love Agent Lightning so much.
Great
he
decoy.
really never gets caught. I was greeted by a gentleman polishing the Corvettes on the front on the showroom floor. He stopped to smile and wave at the baby, and then helped me find a salesman named Ralph. I replied, "I'm interested in this blue Equinox out front," and showed him the picture. A really new 2026 Chevrolet. Is it Equinox or Equinox?
Equinox.
I'll call it Equinox.
Equinox,
RS.
tomato.
With an MSRP, Maroni label of $36,290. Boy, that's cheap. $36,290. Average sticker these days, Maroni is like close to $50,000. The Maroni was in the right spot, and there was no addendum sticker. Wow, that's really good. We're off to a heck of a good start here. Ralph said, "Please give me a minute so I can retrieve the keys, and we can go take a look." He returned with the keys and asked, "What features are important to you?" I like that. I mean, sometimes these salesmen go on with all these bells and whistles that either they don't understand, meaning the customer, or they don't care about. But it's a good question. Hey, what is important to you? Ralph said, took a minute to show me the differences between the models parked up front. I still decided on the vehicle I originally showed him. He then asked, "Would you like to go for a test drive? I can transfer the baby's car seat over for you." Now, that's no easy task. Trust me. I've tried. So that's good. So I'm giving Ralph some good marks so far. I replied, "No. I think today I'd rather just look to see how much it's going to be and then go on from there." Ralph said he totally understood and asked, "How soon do you think you'll be wanting to buy the car?" So that's low key, low pressure so far. I answered, "My husband and I plan on coming back out tonight when he's finished working." We headed back to his desk, Ralph's desk, where he updated my information in the computer since I hadn't been in for a while, meaning she had been into Schumacher Chevrolet as an undercover agent, as a mystery shopper, and they had her in the computer. So all they knew, I don't know why these dealers, when they find out later that they were shopped, why don't they put in the computer, "Watch out"? But they don't do that. I don't know why. Ralph replied, "Absolutely." I asked, "Would you be able to give me a price today?" And he said, "Absolutely." That's good. I mean, sometimes they say, Well, if you're not going to buy, if you come back, or I'll beat the price, or they give you that nonsense. But he said, sure, I'll give you the price today. Is anyone in your household a first responder, a medical professional, or a Costco member? Well, you know that the chances of being a first responder or a medical professional, like 1 in a million, not literally, but like 1% or 1/10 of 1%, and that's BS. But Costco member, that's good. I give points for asking if they're a Costco member. Are there any other GMC vehicles registered at your home? That's a good question. And that's because they have various rebates available, and I want to make sure I get you the best deal. That sounds pretty good. He typed a few things into his computer and then turned the screen toward me saying, we try to be upfront and honest as we can. The screen showed the MSRP of $36,290 and a $5,081 discount. Oh, that's a whopper of a discount. No details provided. No details. Just a sale price of $31,209. Now I'm starting to smell a little something here. I ask, is this better than the Costco price? Is this better than the Costco price? Ralph replied, yes. Now, you Costco members, auto buying members, and a lot of you know that the Costco program is that you have to give their members a lower price than you do anybody else. So by him telling Agent Lightning that this was lower than the Costco price, you're either lying to Agent Lightning or he's lying to Costco, because Costco's rules are you have to give our auto members a lower price than you give anybody else. So Ralph said it is lower. So there's a strike. I asked, is there any way you could provide the fees? I'd have an exact out-the-door price. He responded, absolutely. Whoops. Fees? And excused himself for a few minutes. When he returned, he mentioned, I understand babies can get a little fidgety, as my grandson would, so I'd be happy to handwrite everything for you so you don't have to wait. But I assure you the price will be accurate. I don't know. Handwrite leaves the door open for, we didn't write that. She must have written it herself. He wrote online price $31,209. And then, hang on to your hats. You better sit down for this one. $39 tag agency fee, junk fee. $399 electronic filing fee, junk fee. $995 dealer fee, junk fee, and then tax and tag. So $1,430 higher than the price that they gave them, that they said was lower than the Costco price. I thanked him and we left. And oh, by the way, this was a 2026. And that's the first one that Agent Lightning had noticed. That that's very early for 2026s to be out. And therefore, be on the alert, because if you're gonna buy a new car and the 226 is out, don't buy the 2025. Pay some more, get the 2026, because you probably won't pay enough more to account for the depreciation. And when you buy a 1-year-old car, and you are doing that by buying a 2025 when the 2026s are out, you're getting that full year of depreciation hitting you in the backside 3 or 4 years from now when you trade it. And 3 or 4 years now, they don't know when you bought it, and they don't know when the cars came out. All they know is based on 2026, that's a 5-year-old car, so beware. Okay.
Remember, folks, you can vote at 772-497-6530.
Yeah. We got, we'll have our votes coming in now, and I'm beating on our other member of the team here, ChatGPT, and he lost connection. I had to beat the hell out of him to get the connection back, which I just got. So he's missed a big piece of the Misty shopping report, and that happened once before, too. Anyway, let's get the votes in, and Schumacher Chevrolet in North Palm Beach, Florida.
What do you have for us, Rick?
Well, first one I've got is Bob from Maryland says Schumacher Chevrolet gets an A+ for helping Nikki.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Our
Just let
earlier
me know what
caller.
you need, and I'll jump in.
And he says, I would go there just based on that, but for the mystery shop, it's a B. And let's see, here we go with some more coming in. Roadrunner Steve says, a C-, C for cheating. Jonathan in Palm Coast says, no addendum sticker and a properly placed Monroney sticker are a great start, but the tag fee, filing fee, and dealer fees are unacceptable. I'll give Schumacher Chevrolet a C. Absolutely do your homework before you walk into any dealership. Let's see what else we got here. We have Tom Steckel says, give them a C due to the $1,450 in junk fees. Compare Wes Haney Chevrolet and Live Oak. He's the Earl Stewart of North Florida.
Ooh.
Mark Ryan says C. Andrew Plasinski says a B. Brian Sidlatko, C. Mark Smith, C. Johnny Z. Fradley, B. Cram 1624 says, why didn't she challenge him on the Costco price? D. Too many junk fees.
Good question.
Tim Gilliland says C. P.S. Today's sand dunes look familiar. From our YouTube background there. Which, by the way, somebody earlier said that looks like Stu's out running around on the off-road in the Jeep. Joseph Kelleher says D+. Would have been higher without the over $1,400 in junk fees. South Florida Two-Step says B+. Still got an out-the-door price below MSRP, but the worthless junk fees I did not appreciate. See if any more coming in here. And for me personally, Rocky Blockatiel says just a C. Nothing too bad or good. I pretty much agree with that. I think I didn't like the way they just slipped the junk fees in at the end there.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is that typical game. So I call it a C. However, I do like the idea they did get out the door price was below MSRP. So that's a little in their favor. But I say it's a C, average for me.
Yeah. Nancy?
As far as my vote is concerned, junk fees just really turn me off, and I'm going to go with a D.
D, yeah. I'm going to ask ChatGPT for his score, but he became disconnected once or twice, so prepare yourself for a confused ChatGPT. I'm going to... Coach, I know you lost power there, but what is if you heard enough of the mystery shopping report, how do you score the Chevrolet owned by Schumacher Chevrolet?
I
No,
did
Coach.
catch. Hey there, I'm here. Based on what I heard from the Schumacher Chevrolet report, I'd say they did a pretty good job overall. They were transparent about pricing and fees, which is always a big plus. So I'd give them a solid B+ on the grading curve. Let me know if you need anything else.
Thank you very much, Coach. Yeah, he didn't hear the whole thing.
You're very welcome, Professor. Always happy to help out. Let me know if there's anything else you need during the show.
I think what happened was with this particular shopping report is the salespeople. Schumacher is a smart guy, and his dealerships are intelligently run. And I'm not saying honestly and transparently run, but I'm saying that they know how to cover their bases. And the salesperson did a marvelous job in endearing and himself to the shopper, to the customer, and handled everything legally. I found out also, by the way, that because I wasn't sure about this, when we really hang a dealership today is when they advertise a price, and then they try to add the junk fees back in. Advertising does not include either writing a price down or verbally asserting a price, or even emailing a price gets a little fuzzy. But the laws are vague on that. You can't advertise a price on TV or online unless it's the real price, including all fees. But you can tell, this is really stupid, you can tell somebody, you can lie to somebody verbally, but you can't lie to them in an advertisement. And the state defines advertising as something online or something on TV or something in a way of direct mail. It's got to be clearly this is an advertisement. But a salesman or dealership can lie to you all they want, and they can't be covered under the state law. So this is what happened at Schumacher. They obeyed the law to the letter, and they're smart, but there was deliberate deception, and the Costco really angers me, and I'm going to report them to Costco, by the way, because Costco says clearly, if this Chevrolet Equinox was sold to anybody else, not in the Costco program, for less than you sold it to my Costco member, you are canceled. You're terminated. You broke the rules. The contract says you will sell your cars to Costco members for less than anybody else. And the salesman openly admitted that, he lied. He said it was better than the Costco price. And it might have been better than the Costco price, but you had over $1,000 that you snuck in after you gave him that price. So I see the C's and the B's, and I like Schumacher's dealerships generally, but I'm debating between a C- and a D. I'm going to go with a C-. If Chuck Schumacher, who I know personally, is listening out there, Chuck, you got a problem with your Chevrolet store. I mean, that's not right what you're doing there. So.
My vote was based purely on deception. That's the reason I gave him a D. And I like Schumacher, but that was deception.
Chuck's probably at his ranch in Montana. He's got a beautiful ranch in Montana. So he all this is going. He's just watching the
well, that
coyotes
makes it
and the
even worse
antelope
as
right
far
now.
as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
If you can't run your dealership, close it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what can I tell you?
Okay, we got 5 minutes left. What would you like to discuss? There's a lot of topics here that we.
Here's a good one. As you all know, when you get tired of Nancy B talking about autopilot, full self-driving, you know we both drive Teslas. We have a Cybertruck, and we have a Tesla Plaid. And we came to the radio show this morning on full autonomous, and everywhere we go on fully autonomous. And most people listening to the show say that's just not going to happen. I was shocked to read in the automotive news now that 43% of potential car buyers favor and like the idea of a fully autonomous car.
Can you repeat that percentage?
43%, yeah, 43%. There's a Tesla that was Tesla just lost a $243 million lawsuit because of a fully autonomous Tesla that ran a T-stop, a three-way stop, I guess, and killed somebody in another car. And the fact of the matter is, because on the cameras, they had the person that was supposed to be monitoring the Tesla on fully autonomous. He dropped his cell phone, and he had his head under the dash because the camera saw him looking for his cell phone when the crash occurred. So Tesla's argument is, you said my fully autonomous was responsible for this crash, and Tesla said, how about the driver that's supposed to monitor the fully autonomous, clearly monitor it at all times and be ready to take over, having his head underneath the dash when the crash occurred? So I just wanted to get that out.
Yeah, that's important, and the courts found Tesla 33% responsible.
Yeah, for $243 million.
That's a lot of cabbage. Okay, folks, what a great show. I want to thank everyone who was involved. Nikki, of course, it goes without saying, God bless you. And I hope your next journey is much better than what it was. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Earl on Cars. We'll be right back here next week, 8 a.m. until 10 a.m., right here on the Oldies Channel.